I'm sorry, I'm very late. There are many problems. Just wait few seconds because I'm adjusting. It's giving me lot of trouble. Yeah. Om Gurur Brahma Gurur Vishnu Gurur Devo Maheshwarah Guru Sakshat Param Brahma Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Shrutismati Purananam Alayam Karunalayam Namami Bhagavat Pada Shankaram Loka Shankaram Shankaram Shankara Acharyam Keshavam Badarayanam Sutra Bhashya Kritau Vande Bhagavantau Punah Punah Namami Gauda Padancha Shankaram Sri Sureshwaram Swaminam Satchidanandam Indram Tam Jnana Rupine. Oh, earlier I had a very big difficulty. Is it running? Yeah. In recording for YouTube, and for that it took hours, days in experimenting. Now ultimately I come out with a method where I can record, and let me see this work. Anyway, and one more problem is about our topic also is a bit complicated. So that also took time, and in between there was a lot of disturbance again. Anyway, whatever I can teach today. In fact, I wanted to cancel today, but anyway, whatever I can teach, let me teach little. Om. So we were discussing Adhyasa. Mula Vidya Vadins, who are only a section of Vedantins. We call in Sanskrit Ekadeshi. Ekadeshi means they are a group within us. They are only part of us, but they follow a section of us. In short, we can say a section of us. A section of Advaitins have a different explanation to offer how this Adhyasa takes place. In these things we have been telling, they have certain assumptions. These assumptions are against our general experience, and they go by that assumptions, and they explain Adhyasa is an event, is a process, is a product. Is an event, is a process, and also Adhyasta is a product. Once you say it is a product, it requires a material cause. Material causes produces it, then all that. Then also there is a few more complications. Now this complication Swamiji presented, but our Swamiji Prabhuddhananda Swamiji has summarized all that. So first let me say this summary of Swamiji very beautifully summarized in one place. It's very clear. Oh, sorry, It is all giving some trouble. Yeah, okay. So I just read out and explain a summary of this Adhyasa portion given by our Prabhuddhananda Swamiji is very clear, and then later if necessary we'll discuss our Swamiji's point. Okay. Now when we put up an objection that they told there is an ajnanam in the consciousness of rope. In the consciousness of rope, there is an ignorance, a positive ignorance that transforms into snake. This is their explanation. So regarding this, we questioned. We means this Swamiji's prakriya, such Bhashyakara prakriya, questioned, they give an answer. See, when we put up an objection that when Rajatam is destroyed through the shine of a Shuktyavachinna Chaitanyam, how the jnanam of it is going to be destroyed? Okay. When Rajatam is destroyed through the shine of the Shuktyavachinna Chaitanya, how the jnanam of it is going destroyed? They say, jnanam being dependent on Vishayam. Jnanam always requires an object, necessarily requires an object. It cannot depend upon Rajatam. Okay. Destruction of Rajata Jnanam need not be done separately. They accept the other theory also that the Rajatam has laya back into its Karanam. So the silver or say the snake merges into its Upadana Karanam Avidya. It's a complicated explanation. See, it is a hypothesis. It is a theory imagined by them. Therefore, it looks difficult for you. But just to listen, when we give the answer, it becomes clear. So, how do you destroy the snake? By understanding the rope. If you understand the rope once for all, second time you will not have, as we discussed, second time you can't misunderstand the rope for the snake. Therefore, they present, since we are mistaking the rope for snake many times you put in a dark and again, again after 2 days and 1 week or 1 month, again you tend to mistake the same thing. Now, if ajnana is really removed, let us see. If the ignorance sticking to the rope consciousness, sticking to the Rajju Chaitanyam, if that is really removed, in order to remove the snake, the ajnana has to be removed. If that ajnana is removed for once, next time you won't be able to mistake the rope for snake. But here we have been mistaking again and again. Therefore, we have to say that the avidya of the snake, avidya which is sticking to the rope consciousness and transforms into the snake, doesn't get destroyed really. So there is a two ways of thing. One is the snake merges back into avidya, therefore it doesn't appear. So if this point we take it, it becomes easy again and again. Whenever we mistake it for rope, it appears as a. Whenever we mistake the rope for snake, it appears as a snake, and the snake goes away. Again tomorrow or day after 1 week, again we can mistake. Again we can mistake because the avidya, avidya, that is a karanam avidya. The karana avidya of the snake sticking to the rope consciousness is not removed permanently. Therefore, again and again snake appears. This is the explanation they offer. These are all imaginations. I told you, wild speculations. Therefore, it looks very hard and difficult for us to understand. It's like a story, creating a story. They accept the other theory also, that Rajatam has a laya back into its own karanam, avidya. Okay. This answer is given by them only when we ask a question that as to how avidya can be destroyed without the knowledge of its adhisthana. This is interesting. The Paramatma. So, Chaitanya Atma or Sakshi Atma or Brahman, whatever we say. Unless you know Brahman, avidya won't go away. So, if there is an avidya which transforms into snake, that avidya can go only by knowing Brahman. Now in just knowing the rope, how can the snake go away? Because the snake is produced by ajnanam, and that ajnanam is only by knowing Brahma Jnanam alone, ajnanam will go away. Okay, how does it go? They answer like this: see, ajnanam won't go away completely. Only on the last, when you gain the Brahma Jnanam, then the ajnanam of all other objects will go away. Here, when you don't know the rope thoroughly, you mistake it for snake. When you don't know the seashell correctly, you mistake it for silver. Like this, there are many mistakes happening. There are many mistakes happening in our worldly life. If all these mistakes are due to the ignorance, then that ignorance is the Mula ignorance of Paramatma. Then until you become Brahmajnani, the ajnanam of all these mistaken things in life. See, there are many things in life. We commit mistakes of many things and we misunderstand them. Like rope is a rope for a snake. Like this, so many instances of mistake, worldly instances of mistake happen in our life. So in all these cases, in order to understand, in order to remove this adhyasa, you have to remove the avidya. Then how can you remove the avidya? Because all avidyas ultimately are part of, avidya means ajnanam of worldly objects, is all these smaller ajnanam of worldly objects, all these are part of that Mula ajnanam about Brahman. Okay, these are two levels we are talking. One is ajnanam about the worldly things, another is ajnanam about Brahma only. That is ajnanam about Brahma. So until all these worldly ajnanams, these are all complicated explanations. All this I have studied and I use it to teach. I used it to teach in those days, but now as I came to Sachidananda Swamiji, I left all these things. So there are various ajnanams about various objects. So all these ajnanas, ignorances are part of that Mula Vidya, which is ajnanam about Brahman. So until you know Brahman, that Mula Jnanam is not removed. Then until Mula Jnanam is removed, all these small ajnanams which are part of Mula Jnanam cannot be removed. Okay, until you remove that Mula Jnanam, these ajnanams cannot be removed. Then if ajnanam cannot be removed, how can you remove the snake? This becomes a question. See, when you mistake a rope for the snake, how will you remove the snake? They say snake cannot be permanently removed. Tentatively, it is pushed back into the rope. That's all. Snake won't go away. See, this is a very strange, these are all speculation. Nobody has this in our anubhava. But that's how they explain. So the snake, when you bring the light, what happens? When you bring the light and see the rope, the snake, what happens? Snake will be pushed back into the ajnanam which is sticking to the rope consciousness. Rajya Chaitanyam. Rajyavachinna Chaitanyam, the consciousness limited to the rope. Consciousness limited to the rope, there is a Chaitanyam. And the ajnanam of the rope is sticking to that Chaitanyam. And that ajnanam transforms into snake. So when you bring the light, what happens? The snake is pushed back into the rope ajnanam. So why? Because if you remove the ajnanam here, you will not be able to mistake it again. Therefore, until that Mula Jnanam of Brahma is removed, until you understand Brahma, until you gain Brahma Jnanam, all these ajnanas will continue. This is one explanation. They have got more than one explanation, because within the Mula Vidyavadins, there are many Advaita Acharyas. Many Acharyas have been giving many explanations. So this is one of the explanation. Okay. So therefore, answer is given by ask question. Avidya can be destroyed without the knowledge of Adhishtanam, Paramatma. They say avidya adhyasta in Atma has virodha with the jnanam of that very Atma, and therefore it is clear that it cannot be destroyed without the jnanam of Atma. Therefore, without the Brahma Jnanam, all these avidyas cannot be destroyed. So, Siddhanti asks in between. Siddhanti means we. That avidya pertains to Shuktika, meaning Shuktika is the subject matter of knowing and not knowing. but they say that avidya does not pertain to Shuktika but cover the Shuktika, meaning it is present in Shukti Avachinna Chaitanya. Avidya is covering the rope consciousness. So it is sticking to the rope consciousness and covering it, and that transforms into the snake. The problem is that Shuktavachinna Chaitanyastha Avidya, being Adhyasa in Chaitanyam and being Virodha only to the knowledge of the Chaitanyam, it cannot be destroyed without the knowledge of the Chaitanyam. Therefore, I think this goes into further complicated. I have to explain many more concepts of them. You have to be a great scholar of Mula Vidya. Shall I go into those details? I think I resist them. You just listen whatever you understand partly, because if I say that, that will take another 2 to 3 days. I have to explain their whole philosophy, their concept of Chaitanyam and Avidya. Many more speculations are there. So this much you take it, that Avidya, Chaitanyam cannot, unless you know the consciousness, ignorance cannot be removed. Okay, so now here we are not knowing Brahman directly. We are not knowing Brahman directly means even Brahma Jnanam still remains there like that alone. Thus, when we put up an objection as to how the Rajatam can be destroyed without the Adhisthana Jnanam, without Atma Jnanam, they answer that the destruction of Rajatam is not total destruction, but it is a dissolution of back. It's a cause of avidya. Just now as I explained, snake is not totally destroyed. Until Brahma Jnanam takes place, snake don't go away. See what a wonder they say. The worldly instances of adhyasas, in the worldly instances, for example, take the snake won't be removed until you gain Brahma Jnanam. Then what happens? Tentatively snake will disappear and merge back into the rope, and it will stick to the rope and remain there alone. Until Brahma Jnanam takes place, this will not go away. This is the theory they give when we say that there being only one avidya adhyasa, one avidya or adhyasa in Atma, and it is being unnegatable without the knowledge of its adhisthana. Okay. This is a Vivarana Prakriya. Okay. Are you interested in this technical? I shall go into details. Otherwise, I'll just take a general idea and proceed. Okay. Because when Siddhanti answers, that point is relevant to us. This is their concept. And when we refute them, the refutation is enough, I think. Those who are interested, we will take another class separately. Another means in one of these days, we will discuss separately. But I think here, briefly I touch it. Anyway, I touched it. So there are two traditions in the on Shankara Bhashya, and we should know there are two traditions. One is a Panchapadika, another is Bhamati. Panchapadika is believed to be written, not believed, because there is no proof, there is no evidence, historical evidence or any bookish, nowhere it is written. It is written much later, centuries later. So Panchapadika is believed to be written by one Padmapada. And second point is that Padmapada is believed to be the direct disciple of Shankara. Regarding these two things, nobody knows. All this is a confusion. Okay, there is a belief. First thing is Panchapadika. Panchapadika is a only Chatussutri commentary on Sutra Bhashya. It is not a complete commentary on complete Brahma Sutra Bhashya. It is only up to Chatussutri. Therefore, this Panchapadika is believed to be written by Padmapada, and Padmapada is believed to be a direct disciple of Shankara. This is the only belief that he is a direct disciple of Shankara that gave it a validity, and therefore they say that we must accept whatever Panchapadikakara told. But Panchapadikakara's explanation is just now we have told, and this is the thing. Now, on Panchapadika, there is a commentary by one Prakashatma Yati, Vivarana. So, his tradition is known by Vivarana Sampradaya. Now, there is another one, Bhamati. Bhamatikara was not a direct disciple of Shankaracharya. He seems to be around 1 century later, maybe 3 generations, 3 or 4 generations removed from by Shankaracharya. So his guru was one Trilochanacharya, one Bhamatikara, name of Bhamatikara, Bhamati author was Vachaspati Mishra, and Vachaspati Mishra was a disciple of what is his name, Trilochanacharya. So the Trilochana, we don't know who was his guru, but he represents a slightly different tradition. Now we don't know who was his direct disciple of Shankara. Therefore, it seems that there is another disciple. From him this Bhamati tradition is coming and Vivarana tradition is coming. So these two traditions are coming from Shankara Bhashya. Based upon Shankara Bhashya, there are these two traditions. So they have got certain major important points on Vedanta. They have got two different explanations. Now scholars, 2 points I say, Panchapadika and Vivarana is generally followed by sannyasis and Bhamati is generally followed by Grihasthas. Some people in fact mix up both also, but there is generally we say Bhamati is more at least liked, we can say, more loved by Grihasthas because Bhamatikara himself was a Grihastha and a great scholar. And Panchapadika, Vivaranakara, both are sannyasis, therefore sannyasis love Panchapadika and Vivarana tradition. But anyway, scholars study both. Now, regarding many points on Shankara Bhashya, there are two explanations. One is given by Bhamati, another is given by Vivarana. So these two alternative explanations keep on continuing as a tradition. So this looks very odd. When Shankara wrote Bhashya clearly, he has one view about one concept, one view about his own Siddhanta. Now regarding each point, you have got two explanations. Now we don't know which one is originally Shankara's interpretation, Shankara's meaning. Now the tradition believes that always you give two meanings about each point. They say, according to him, this is the meaning of Shankara. According to the Vivarana, this is the meaning of Shankara. Two parallel interpretations, keep on studying. They study two parallel interpretations and retain them two parallel, and they say this is Shankara Bhashya. And it looks very odd. Why don't we say what is the Shankaracharya's opinion? Instead of directly learning Shankara's opinion, we learn from his disciples' interpretations, and those interpretations also two equally contradictory, two differing from each other. Bhamati doesn't accept Vivarana, Vivarana doesn't accept Bhamati. They keep on rejecting each other. Therefore, they told they parallel interpretations they retain. They keep on retaining two interpretations about each idea. About each concept, they have got two ideas. About each point. About each point, two ideas they retain and go on like this. It looks, how can there be two ideas about the same thing? Can't you say one point clearly? This is how the Vedantic tradition remains even now, up till now. Then Sachidananda Swamiji told, why these two interpretations which cannot be reconciled? Because they are opposite to each other. So Swamiji set aside these two interpretations, study directly Shankara. Then he found Adhyasa is avidya according to Shankara directly. Because Shankara is openly telling in his words. In his open words, he says Adhyaso avidya. This is what he told. Mithya jnanam is avidya, is openly telling. Now these people say, other than Adhyasa, there is a positive material cause and that transforms into Adhyasa, and that is Adhyasa. And that positive avidya, positive substance which transforms into Adhyasa, now where is it? This one more problem arises. Where is that avidya? Some people say, Vivarana people say, that avidya is sticking to Brahman. Bhamatikara says, no, that is sticking to Jiva. Now this is an uncompromising. Bhamati followers say it is sticking to Jiva. It can't stick to Brahman. They say, Vivarana say, no, it must be with Brahman, cannot be with Jiva. Now it can be reconciled. They don't agree with each other. They go on endlessly like this. Therefore, ultimately, the tradition has come to accept two parallel explanations about avidya. But where is avidya? They say it is in Brahman, or say it is in Jiva. They say, according to these people, it is in Jiva. According to them, it is in Brahma. Therefore, two interpretations you continue to study Vedanta in these two interpretations. See, when you study the truth, do you understand one, or you keep on holding two views and you keep on, tradition continues like this. Keep on holding two views. It has been continuing for centuries. Two views about each thing, two views. They can't be reconciled. You can't accept one and reject the other. Both are continuing like this. Therefore, Swamiji told both are equally wrong. Therefore, Adhyaso, Avidya, take directly which Shankara told. Anyway, because of this, all these problems, all this point we are discussing now. Now, this much is enough because I don't want to go into more details. Now, coming to the point. Now, the two problems are there. One is Ajnanam about Brahman. When you don't know Brahman, you find the Jagat, you find Jiva and the whole samsara. That is the whole Jagat. Second is, when you happen to misunderstand, when you happen to be ignorant of many worldly things, because there are many worldly objects which we are ignorant of, those worldly objects are misunderstood also. Therefore, there is an ignorance about the worldly objects. So they say there are the two levels now. One is ignorance about Brahman. Because of that ignorance, the world is produced. Therefore, there is an ignorance sticking to the Brahman, a material ignorance, positive ignorance. That ignorance transforms into Jagat. Okay, this is one Atma ignorance or Brahma ignorance. Second thing is ignorance of the worldly objects. As a Jiva, I don't know many things. So, for example, take, I don't know the rope. When I don't know the rope, in the semi-darkness, I tend to misunderstand, I tend to mistake it for snake. So here, when I mistake it for snake, snake is produced, then which avidya is producing the snake here? Now, there are two avidyas now we have to talk of. One is avidya about the worldly objects, another is avidya about Brahman. Regarding this here, there are two views. Vivarana Sampradaya, Panchapadika Vivarana says that there is only one avidya, but it has got two levels. So, one is a part avidya, another is total avidya. Total avidya is the avidya about Brahman. Part avidya is the partial limited avidyas. They are already part of the total avidya, is sticking to the worldly objects. When you don't know the worldly objects, okay, when you don't know the worldly objects, for example, you don't know the rope, there is a rope ignorance. When you don't know the book, there is a book ignorance. When you don't know that table, there is a table ignorance. When you don't know this, so these ignorances are small pieces, part of total avidya. This is Panchapadika Vivarana tradition. Then coming to the Bhamati, they talk of two-tier avidya. One is Mula Vidya and Tula Vidya. Tula Vidya is avidya about worldly objects in the worldly sense, and the Mula Vidya is avidya about Brahman. So they put them these two. All these complications arise because they don't accept Adhyasa as avidya. Adhyasa requires a material positive substance. It is a positive substance sticking to Brahman, and it is a material cause which transforms into Adhyasa. Because of this concept, all these complications arose. Now, the Vivarana's explanation is, how do you remove the ignorance to remove the snake? This is the question. Now, the ignorance sticks to consciousness. Until you know the consciousness, ignorance won't go away. Consciousness means Brahma. Until you know the Brahma, ignorance won't go away. Now that ignorance, only by knowing Brahman alone, all Ajnanam goes away. That means, until you gain Brahma Jnanam, snake can't go away. Because if snake comes due to ignorance, and that ignorance is sticking to rope consciousness, yet all these ignorances of worldly objects are part of total ignorance about Brahman, the ultimate ignorance about Brahman. Therefore, until you know Brahman, ignorance won't go away. Until ignorance goes away, the snake won't go away. Then what happened? Lifelong, all these all the worldly misunderstandings will continue to remain until you gain Brahma Jnanam. That would be the problem. Now you know what they say? No, there are two levels. The snake will go away. Snake won't go. The snakes, the material cause of the snake, the Mula Vidya, Karana Vidya won't go away because the snake only merges back into avidya, and snake doesn't appear. That's all. All misunderstandings in worldly objects, all misunderstanding regarding worldly objects, what happens? All these misunderstandings will only disappear, merge back into their avidyas. And each time you can misunderstand them, they appear, again merge back, again appear, again merge back. So therefore, the avidya of the worldly objects won't go away completely. They all go away in one stroke. Last, when you know the Brahma, that is the only time all avidyas will go away. Until then, they won't go away. They only tentatively, the snake misunderstanding, silver misunderstanding, worldly objects, worldly instances of misunderstanding tentatively merge. They won't go away. This is one explanation. Now, in Bhamatikara explanation, they say there are two avidyas. One is Brahma Vidya, that is Brahma Jnanam. Another is Ajnanam about the worldly objects. So therefore, Ajnanam about the rope. Take for example, Ajnanam about the rope. Now here, when you mistake the rope for snake, the Ajnanam about the rope consciousness sitting there, that transforms into snake. And when you know that rope consciousness, snake goes away. Here, how does the ignorance go away? This ignorance is separate. And that Mula Vidya about Brahman, that is separate. This is Tula Vidya. Bhamati tradition gives another name. This is a Tula Vidya. They people don't remove the avidya. They people, it only merges back. Snake merges back into avidya. It remains until the Brahma Jnanam goes away. But for Bhamati tradition, it looks very complicated for you. This is what Vedanta has become, unfortunately. And when they say Vedanta has become so complicated, they get angry. You don't understand Vedanta and you keep on accusing our tradition. But this is how Vedanta, you have to study like this alone. And Swamiji told, why speculate and create all this confusion? Adhyasa is Anubhav Siddha, straight away over. Bhashyakara also talks the same thing. Adhyasa is avidya, over. See, they say how they complicated. Therefore, so in order to remove the snake, you have to remove the avidya sticking to the rope consciousness. This is a Tula Vidya, separate avidya. About each object there is Tula Vidya. There are infinite Tula Vidyas, innumerable Tula Vidyas. Mula Vidya is one. Tula Vidyas are innumerable because with reference to each object they are there. Therefore, this is Bhamati explanation. Okay. Then also they give the theory of Mula Vidya and Tula Vidya. I read out Prabhuddhananda Swamiji's. Avidya about Atma and Avidya about objects. Avidya and its effects, like the world, are also termed as Mula Vidya and Tula Vidya. In the present context, Tula Vidya means avidya pertaining to Shuktika, that is a rope. And they say it is destroyed in the knowledge of Shuktika, therefore Rajatam too is destroyed and need not be accepted to have Laya back into Mula Vidya. So therefore, they differ from Panchapadika tradition, Vivarana tradition. They have got their own explanation. Tula Vidya is a separate avidya about the worldly objects. These avidya goes away when you know the object. This is a separate. For Vivarana tradition, that the small avidyas about worldly objects, avidya about worldly object is a part of Mula Vidya alone, therefore it won't go away. For according to Bhamati, these Tula Vidyas go away, Mula Vidya remains. Only with Brahma Jnanam, Mula Vidya goes away. This is the difference between their explanations. Now let us proceed. Okay, I think today we will somehow complete, whether you understand or not, all this speculation. These 2 paragraphs are there, 2 to 3 paragraphs. I shall read out and explain so that we go to a clean Siddhanti. Sachidananda Swamiji's refutation will be cleanly understood. So it is their explanations. We will finish their explanations today so that we will not have any these complications for tomorrow's class, for next class. So whatever they say, whatever you understand. If you don't understand, doesn't matter, don't worry, because these are all their own speculations. These are all their own speculations. They say that Mula Vidya, which is Atma Jnanam, is located in Atma. See, Mula Vidya is the Mula, original avidya about the whole world. That is in Atma. Is destructible only by not. That goes away only by Brahma Jnanam. Only with Brahma Jnanam, Mula Vidya goes away. But the avidya of Shuktika is accepted by them as present in Shuktika Avachinna Chaitanya. Now regarding the worldly objects like rope, there is a rope Ajnanam. Where is that rope Ajnanam? Rope Ajnanam is sticking to the rope Avachinna Chaitanya. Rajvavachinna Chaitanyam. That means consciousness limited to rope. There is the same consciousness limited to this small rope. So when you try to see the rope, we are unable to see the rope completely. So there is a thin layer covering up the rope, which doesn't allow you to understand the rope. Therefore, that avidya, this is an individual avidya, small avidya about the rope, that alone transforms into snake. So thus this they have to say, or else Rajatam would be indestructible without the knowledge of Atma. So they have to accept this another avidya, separate avidya, that other than that mula avidya. So this avidya will go away by knowing the rope. They divide avidya as avidya about Atma and avidya about Shuktika, like this two. Avidya about Brahman and avidya about this rope and worldly objects. So two avidyas. Avidya about Atma is in Atma. So avidya about Brahman is in Brahman. And then avidya about this rope and snake are sticking to the Chaitanyam conditioned by the rope. Sticking to the consciousness conditioned by the rope. They justify the destruction of Rajatam through destruction of Shaktikavachinna Chaitanya Sthita Avidya. And the destruction of this avidya is justifiable without the destruction of Atma Avidya. Therefore, this Tula Avidya means object avidya. This object avidya is destroyed when you know the object, then the snake stops appearing. Snake stops appearing only when you know the rope and remove the ignorance about the rope. Okay, this is Tula Avidya. Therefore, destruction of Tula Avidya is enough to remove the snake. You don't have to destroy that Mula Avidya about Brahman. Okay, that will go away only with Brahma Jnanam. But here, you can remove the snake by knowing the rope. Therefore, by removing the ignorance about the rope can be removed. Okay, if they accept this theory of two avidyas, two avidya means two levels. One is avidya about the object, avidya about Brahman. Two levels, two objects and two levels of avidya, or two avidyas, let us say. Bhamatikara says two levels of avidya. Vivarana Sampradaya says two levels of avidya. Bhamatikara says two avidyas. That is a Mula Avidya, this is Tula Avidya. Two-tier avidya is Bhamati tradition. Two-tier means two avidyas. Panchapadikakara Vivarana says Mula Vidyas. These people are only tentative versions of the same avidya. Okay, this is the two traditions. This is how traditionally we have studied Vedanta, we have been teaching. And now once I came to Sachidananda Swamiji, we left all this speculation. If they accept this theory of two avidyas, two locuses for the same avidya, it is consistent, and their theory of giving the example of Rajatam as Mithya Srishti too is in keeping with this theory. Therefore, the snake is a false snake which is born. Okay, this is their explanation. But if they say that Rajatam has a laya back with the Mula Vidya without total destruction, then it cannot be given as an example. In Bhamati explanation, slightly better. Okay, because Bhamati followers have accepted two avidyas. Mula Vidya is about Brahman, Tula Vidya is about worldly objects. So here, snake will go away by understanding the rope, by removing Tula Vidya. Ignorance of the rope is removed, the snake will go away. So Brahma Vidya will remain. This is a clean explanation. But whereas, for the Vivarana tradition, it's a more complicated. They say the ignorance of the rope won't go away, because the ignorance of the rope is a part of that Mula Vidya. It is all one avidya. Therefore, only by Brahma Jnanam alone, all the ignorance will go away. Until then, it won't go away. Therefore, they have alternative explanations. They say, to remove the snake, you don't have to destroy the ignorance of the rope. To remove the snake, you don't have to destroy the ignorance of snake. Ignorance of the snake will remain. Only snake will merge back into that avidya. It will remain hidden. That's all. Until Brahma Jnanam takes place. This explanation they were giving. So this explanation, if you give for the worldly event, this is a drishtanta. This is an illustration. worldly event is an illustration for Atma Jnana. Without total destruction, then it cannot be given as an example. So the problem is, what about then Atma Vidya? Will the world disappear? Will the world disappear tentatively? Until Brahmajnanam takes place in Sushupti, it only disappears tentatively. It won't go away, they say. So, therefore, just as Rajatam is resolved back into its cause, Mula Vidya, in the knowledge of Shuktika, so too Jagat becomes resolved back into its cause, the Mula Vidya, in the knowledge of Atma, which means total destruction of it is not possible, and this is inconsistent with their own theory. Similarly, by knowing the rope, what happens? By knowing the rope here, the snake only merges back into the rope knowledge. Merges back into the rope avidya, that's all. Snake merges back into rope avidya. So, if this is taken as an example for Brahma Jnanam, there it becomes complicated. Even after knowing Brahma, Jagat will merge back into avidya. Avidya will remain like that alone. By knowing Brahma Jnanam, what happened? Avidya will remain like that alone, because Jagat merges back into avidya. Avidya will remain there alone. It won't go away. That becomes a complicated. We'll proceed, because these are all complications. Even there also they give many explanations. When we ask a question as to how Rajata Jnanam is destroyed, they answer that in the shine of Shuktika Avachinna Chaitanyam, there is also the shine of Sakshi Chaitanyam. Therefore, both Rajatam and Rajata Jnanam are destroyed together, because the Shuktika Avachinna Chaitanya Stavidya, Sakshavastinna Chaitanya are destroyed at the same time. This is Vivarana explanation, which I have already given. Okay. Thus, they give different methods of tackling Adhyasa. Oh, now it is enough now. We will not again touch these unnecessary speculations. So, they give these two explanations. These explanations are going round and round and unnecessarily boring it is. Now, the answer, Sachidananda Swamiji comes to the, now Siddhanti answers it. See, Ukta Adhya. Now, 13th point in Sugama, we are touching the 13th point. Point means a number. Ukta Adhyasa Varnanasya Asangatyam. This explanation of Adhyasa through a Mula Vidya, a Karana Vidya, all this is irrelevant, meaningless. It is a pure speculation. It doesn't exist in our. See, Sarvameva etad varnitam asangatam. All this is irrelevant, because Bhashyakara is talking of Adhyasa. These people leaving Adhyasa go on into their pet theory, which is unnecessary. They say it is not pet theory, which is, no, you know, when I asked them, when I tried to talk to them, this is most important. It is necessary. Shankaracharya had this in view, though he wrote in his Shankara Bhashya. They say this Mula Vidya, though was not stated, was not written in Shankara Bhashya, he had it in his mind and he taught it personally to his disciple Panchapadikakara. And he wrote it in his commentary, therefore it must be accepted. When we ask them, where is it in Bhashya? It is not there in the Bhashya. They say, yes, it is not there in Bhashya, but Shankara kept it secret. All this wild speculation, nonsense speculation, he kept it secret. He taught it to his personal disciple and he did not write in Shankara Bhashya. This is the explanation. You like it and you want us to believe. And if you don't believe, they say you are untraditional, against the tradition, you are talking all nonsense, they blame us. Okay, this is all they go. I don't know how it can convince them. People with all such a great thinkers they are. How it can convince them, God alone knows. Sarvameva etad varnanam asangatam tathacha loke anubhavaha iti loka siddhasya sukti rajatadhyasasya udaharanena hi swoktasya adhyasa lakshanasya anubhavanusaritvam pradarshaitum bhashakarasya pravrittiriti tavannopapadanam apekshate. See, Shankaracharya is simply touching this much. That we see a Shuktika Rajatavat. A seashell is appearing as a snake, just as seashell is mistaken as a snake, as a silver, so too this Brahman is mistaken for this world. This is all he says. He is giving an example to show how the world is also just a misunderstanding. There is no such thing called world other than misunderstanding about Brahman. Just only he is giving an example to help you to understand. Now they stick to the example and go into details, keep on explaining so many unnecessary things. This is the problem. He wants to say simple Anubhava Siddham. And leaving about this Anubhava Siddham, Anena tu bhashyena kathamapi na sangachyate tadeka idam ekadeshabhihi krutam adhyasa varnanam. These Ekadeshi Vedantins, Panchapadika and Vivarana, their explanation is will not go with Bhashya. It is totally against Bhashya because Bhashyakara never stated anywhere in his Prasthanatrayi Bhashyam. They know it. When we talk to them, they say, yes, it is not there in Shankara Bhashya. Then why do you accept it? They say they just want to remain silent. They don't want to talk to you. They don't want to reply to you. They just want to keep you away and continue what they want. See, this is the thing. Therefore, Anubhava Anarudhatvat. One is, it is not there in the Bhashya. Second is, it is against your Anubhava. Nobody experiences that there is a material substance transforms into snake. Has anybody seen? These are all speculation. Vipratipatti sthanatvacha. Third point is, it is a contradiction. It is giving rise to more confusions because there itself how Bhamati Vivarana has to differ. Because it is such a complicated thing that even the speculation cannot be unanimously accepted. A part of it is rejected by Bhamati, and Bhamati's explanation is opposed by Vivarana's. Vivarana's explanation is opposed by Bhamati. Even if you accept Mula Vidya, it is giving rise to controversy. One is against Bhashya, second is against Anubhava, third is it is giving rise to further complex controversies. Because of these three reasons, it cannot be accepted. This is Swamiji's reply. Now Swamiji gives the detailed reply to this thing. I think this detailed reply we'll discuss next class. And in this reply, point becomes clear. Okay? We don't have this much of complication. It becomes very easy and straight away Anubhava. We will discuss in the next class because time is up already. I started today late because of these many reasons. I think I have discovered how to record in my YouTube because the YouTube in updating he created a problem. I was unable to upload because in between 2 or 3 classes gone. People say that, oh, we have missed those talks, but I am unable to upload to the YouTube because I am recording separately for YouTube. So I discovered with all experimenting in the cell phone. Now I hope today, let me see if it works, then we'll have regularly this uploading. We'll not have any problem. Okay. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om Tat Sat.